Washington promised broadband for rural America. Billions approved, years of paperwork, and yet in February, Alaska is still racing a deadline because the rules keep moving. In this hearing, Senator Lisa Murkowski asked the question taxpayers should demand. What is the threshold? Who sets it? And what happens to the money Washington doesn't spend? Listen closely. This isn't just about internet speeds. It's about trust. And what happens next shows you why.
The non-statutory cost threshold per BSL in Alaska has shifted multiple times in my communications with NTIA. Can you tell me what per BSL cost threshold is being used in Alaska with regard to the final BEAD proposal? What we need to know is what's the threshold, and can we count on the fact that it's not going to be changing on us yet again?
My understanding is that actually Alaska is on the 1 yard line. I mean, we're just about there.
Okay.
I think the only issue was that island.
There's
Right.
3 islands.
But
St. Paul, St. Lawrence, and McGrath. McGrath is not an island. It may as well be an island because it's...
My understanding was the conversations were with respect to the island, and that we were very, very close to a solution between us. So my expectation was, in fact, it may be resolved today or tomorrow.
Okay, that would be great, and I'm sure your teams will be working with us to give more information. Let's talk just a sec about the unspent funds. It's my understanding that the final provisional awards approved by NTIA are going to award the states much less than their original BEAD allocations. I don't know how much is actually left on the table. The question that I have is what happens to it? Is it returned to the Treasury? How much is intended to return to the Treasury? What are the plans for the funds? We're looking at it from the perspective of, look, everything in Alaska, and you know this, everything is just so high cost. Every dollar matters. We get it. We're operating under the assumption that Congress intended all these funds to be dispersed in a smart and a wise way. We get that. But a question for you in terms of what the plans are for unspent funds, and just a commitment that these remaining funds be allocated in a way that are used to do exactly what we intended with this program, which is to strengthen all aspects of communication, particularly when it comes to our emergency or public safety communication in these rural areas where you just have these incredible gaps, but also within the critical mile infrastructure. So we know we want to be smart with our money, but these were funds that were directed for a very specific reason. The need is huge, and in many cases, it's just a little more expensive than maybe in the lower 48.
We have no plans for rescission.
Okay. There's a difference, though, between rescission and unspent funds.
So we have $21 billion. So we have executed universal broadband, gotten every state, covering each and every person that every state asked to cover, yours included. We will have $21 billion remaining. So we are starting tomorrow a listening tour. We have 900 people signed up for tomorrow. We will meet with your office and your staff if you would like. What are your best ideas? You've said it, I think, very, very well. Let's do it smart. Let's do it efficiently. Let's do it effectively. We have covered everybody who needed it in the United States universally at that high performance standards that you set for $21 billion less. We have now a great opportunity. We have $21 billion. Let's design together the smartest thing to do with that money for the benefit of your state and for all of the states of America. I think that is our objective, and we start that tomorrow.
Okay, well, I will look forward to those follow-on conversations, both with regards to the Alaska-specific projects and then on the going forward. Again, I recognize that we are, the way I say it is we've never been the benefit of the bargain in many cases because we're just so high cost. And it's not because it's waste, fraud, or abuseful, it is just far out there. So this is an opportunity that we have to really do right by all Alaskans, even in the most remote of remote places. And we look forward to working with you to address their needs as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Did you catch what just happened? A United States Senator asked for a number, a simple, measurable number, the cost threshold per location, the rule Alaska has to hit to get these projects approved. And what did Washington give her? A football metaphor. On the 1-yard line, very close, maybe today or tomorrow. But out in rural Alaska, maybe is not a plan. Close doesn't buy fiber, and tomorrow doesn't change the reality that construction seasons are short. Here's the deeper problem. This isn't just a broadband debate, it's a governance problem. Because Murkowski isn't asking for a blank check. She's asking for what conservatives have demanded forever: stable rules, predictable standards, and accountability for how taxpayer dollars are spent. Notice what was not said. She asked, "What threshold are you using? And can we count on the fact that it's not going to be changing on us yet again?" We never got the threshold. Not once. No figure, no written standard, no promise it won't move again. Just reassurance. Then the conversation turns to what Washington really hates: the leftovers. Murkowski asks it plainly: if states are getting less than their original allocations, what happens to the unspent funds? Do they go back to the Treasury? How much is left? What's the plan? That's not anti-infrastructure. That's pro-taxpayer, pro-transparency, pro-rural America. And watch the dodge. The first answer is, we have no plans for rescission. Murkowski stops it immediately. Rescission is not the same thing as unspent funds. Translation: don't change the subject with a different word. Then comes the headline claim: we will have $21 billion remaining. Let that sink in. After years of Washington telling you this program needed tens of billions to close the digital divide, the Secretary is saying they've covered everybody and still have $21 billion sitting there. So here's the question nobody says out loud. If everybody is covered, why is Alaska still scrambling to squeeze projects under a shifting cost threshold this week? Because covered can mean two different things. It can mean a family can actually connect reliably, affordably in the real world, or it can mean Washington checked a box on a spreadsheet. Now, to Lutnick's credit, he doesn't talk about yanking the money back. He talks about a listening tour. He says, bring your best ideas. Let's do it smart, efficient, effective. Good, but let's confront the reality head on. Who gets to design the next rules for that $21 billion? The same bureaucracy that kept moving the goalposts? The same agencies that couldn't tell Alaska the threshold? And this isn't just about streaming speeds. Murkowski spelled it out: public safety, emergency communications, remote communities where gaps aren't inconvenient. They're dangerous. So here's why it matters. If Washington is going to claim victory, it needs receipts, clear standards, clear timelines, clear oversight, and a guarantee that efficiency doesn't become a euphemism for shortchanging the hardest to serve Americans. Drop your take in the comments. Should unspent BEAD money be returned to the Treasury, reallocated to the highest need areas, or reserved for public safety infrastructure first? Like the video, subscribe and share, because the next decision they make with that $21 billion will tell you whether this was reform or just a new round of Washington spin.